the new marketing for your small business podcast. Delivering the latest opportunities in marketing to help your small business grow and prosper in a digital world.
Hello and welcome to the New Marketing for Your Small Business podcast. I'm Luke Porter, the founder of Moving Tree Media, and I've got a guest with me today. We haven't done a guest in a while. So this is Eric Carlson. He's the owner of Loon's Eye Digital here in Minnesota, and he is an SEO and digital marketing expert. Welcome, Eric.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, happy to have you. So Eric and I met at a local networking group. So if you happen to be in the Twin Cities, check out Powerhouse Partners in Rosemount. They are an awesome group, part of the AGC, family of networking groups. How's your AGC experience been so far?
I've loved it. Theoretically, it's just a place for you to exchange referrals, but really, I was just starting my business when I joined, and so being able to be around people that had been in that situation already and had been there for a while and could give advice and could, help me avoid some mistakes that maybe they'd made, super valuable group.
Awesome. Well, today's topic is, I guess you'd call it things you can do for your SEO that you don't necessarily need a professional for, although we'll get into that, but just some quick changes you can make before you're ready to take that step. Eric has done a lot of training in the past. He knows his stuff. For those of you who've listened to the podcast before, you know that I like to get very tactical and just get right into it. So, Eric, tell me about kind of the state of SEO in 2026. What's the landscape look like these days and why it's important?
Good SEO is still good AEO. So I don't recommend stopping anything if you're already doing SEO. Really, the change is kind of just a slight shift in what your goals are for SEO.
Yeah, and actually, let's take a step back for a sec. Most of our listeners know what SEO is, but just very briefly, why is it still important?
All your AI tools are based off of the Google rankings. They're not going to take straight, the top 10 links that they see, but they use Google's algorithm to kind of validate and vet the information that they're setting up. So if you're completely invisible to Google, you're still going to be invisible to a lot of those AI tools too. So they're definitely not completely separate. You can't do AEO or whatever you want to call it without doing some SEO. But yeah, it's definitely something where continuing to do what's working is probably the best way, at least technically. But like I said, the goals might be shifting a little bit. What you're expecting to happen is going to be a little different. Where you're focusing your time is going to be a little different.
So basically, this is for people to find your business when they're searching for you. And previously, before, 2 years ago, most people were searching for you on Google. And now that's starting to change where people are searching for your business more and more using these AI tools, whether it's ChatGPT or Google Gemini or whatever you like best. So you need to make sure your business is not only visible in Google search results, but is being recommended by these AI tools. Is that kind of what I'm hearing you say?
Kind of. So when people are looking for a business, they're still using Google for the most part. But when they're doing their research beforehand, that's when they're using the AI tools, when they're saying, what's the best landscaping company near me? What's the best coffee shop near me? Those are the kinds of things where it might be going into an AI search. But then when they, find some recommendations or they see something, then they'll go to Google to actually visit your website or to make a purchase or something like that. So yes, they're still going to Google to find you, but they're going to AI tools to kind of vet the area first. So getting found in both is really important.
Well, let's tell some people some tips they can use on how to be found in both. So yeah. I know from my own experience, a good spot to start is probably your Google business profile. If you could talk about why that's important.
Absolutely. So when you're searching for something and you see the little map and then it's got the list of businesses right next to it, that's all Google business profile information. So making sure that you've got all your information in there, you got your hours, they're correct, they match what's on your website, making sure that your address is exactly the same way it's listed on your website, making sure that all that information is completely identical and consistent throughout all those different sites. But also social media is becoming more important in SEO, because now you want to have more people talking about you, and the one place that you can control is your social media. So if you get on your Facebook page and start making posts and linking to your site and posting updates in Google Business Profile, posting new pictures, all that stuff is showing Google and the search engines that your content is up to date, that you're continually updating your site and your content, and that you haven't gone out of business, you haven't closed your doors, or haven't completely stopped marketing at all. So continually updating all that stuff is super important, and then continuing to build the entire network around Google Business Profile is also kind of the big thing. Unfortunately, what I've told a lot of people is the only thing that you need to worry about with local SEO is everything everywhere all at once.
Yeah, and you mentioned updates on your Google Business Profile, and that's something that I see a lot of business owners not even knowing that that's a feature, where it's almost like being able to do little social media posts on your Google Business Profile. Could you talk about those for a sec?
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like you said, it's like a social media update. Just, a 1-2 sentence update is all you really need. If you're posting blogs, like every time you post a blog, say, hey, check out our new blog. If there's an event going on at your business, make sure that you post about something there. Take new pictures all the time. Say, this is what's going on at our business this week. All those kinds of updates, again, it's just showing that, you're taking care of your presence. You're continually saying, hey, Google, we're still here. We're still doing business. We still want people to come here. And if you negate it for too long, then it's going to be, kind of a sign that, maybe they're not in business anymore. Google is fighting to stay completely up to the minute relevant. And, the longer you wait to post something or update something, verify something, then it's going to show that, you're not as up to date as maybe your competitors are.
And before you mentioned Yelp, so I want to talk for a minute about the importance of getting reviews in Google and Yelp. How can businesses get more reviews, and why is it important?
The one thing that I tell people is just stay in touch. It's a good follow-up system is really important to have for a local business. So after somebody comes, make sure that you're following up with an email or a text or any way that you've got your customer's information, with permission, of course. Make sure that you're following up and say, hey, if you enjoyed your time, please send us a review. Here's the link. Make it really easy for that person to give you a review. Just real quick, what you really liked about your visit today, or your experience with us. Make sure that you're following up with people when they do post something. If somebody has a good time, say, hey, thanks for the review. That was really great. We enjoyed your business, or whatever. And if somebody has a bad review, make sure that you follow up with them too and say, hey, I'm really, sorry that this wasn't as good for you. Is there anything that we can do to make it up to you? Or, reach back out to us and we'd like to help, make it right. Just, again, showing that you're taking it all seriously, and that you're continually working to make things right for your customers, and that you're, paying attention to everything that's out there, and Google will reward that.
Yeah, and people have asked me, well, what if I get a negative review? Can I get it removed? And I tell them it's kind of difficult. Like Google, if they break some of the rules that Google has, if they're obviously using hate speech or if it's spam, then you can get it removed. But otherwise, it kind of stays there. And oftentimes the best tactic is to just get more positive reviews to drown that one out.
Absolutely. Yeah, the volume is going to help you first. If you're doing any kind of business on a regular basis, you're going to have somebody that didn't like what you did. So bad experiences can't be completely avoided. But, acknowledging that, maybe there's something that you could have done better, and, trying to help them out is a great thing. But it's also, again, good SEO too. So it kind of a 2-for-1 there.
So I know that Google uses those positive reviews as part of SEO on how high to rank your company. So how often, like as a baseline, would you recommend a company try to get at least one new positive review?
I mean, the more the better. There's never like a point where it's like, oh, you need to slow down with these positive reviews. Too many people are saying good things. But make sure that they're real. Don't just go out to, some person on LinkedIn that's offering to get you 10,000 reviews and have them generate a bunch with AI or something. I imagine that's probably something that would work for 2-3 months, and then, Google will sniff it out and punish you for it. Knock your rankings way down after that. I've seen way too many people that have tried to game the algorithm and tried to game the system, and it works for a couple months and then everything crashes. It's a lot harder to dig out from that than it is to build from nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of a good general rule of thumb, I'd say, is don't pay someone for any of those like spammy backdoor style tactics to get your business seen more. Just like buying followers on social media, that is not going to help you in the slightest, and it will hurt your reach.
Yeah, and it's a lot of those times it's a vanity thing, right? It's like maybe you'll get a bunch of reviews and you'll rank higher. If all of your reviews are coming from spam bots, then the people that it's going to rank highest for is more spam bots. So, Google understands where these reviews come from. And if they're not coming from like local, real people, it's not going to help your rankings with local, real people. Like it's all very broken down into like what the niche is that you're serving. So if your actual customers are leaving you good reviews, that's all great. Continue to build your relationship with your customers. Awesome. But if you reach out to one of those things and they've got a click farm in China and that's how you get all your reviews, you're going to start ranking really well in China, and it's not something that's actually going to help grow your business. So
awesome. Well, hey, let's talk about what a business can actually do on their own website. So let's say you're a business owner or a marketer and you have access to the back end of your website. Maybe it's WordPress. You have access to the WordPress dashboard. You might not necessarily be a web developer. You're not going to get into the code or anything like that. But what are some things that you could do yourself on your website before you take the next step in going to a professional to rank higher in Google results?
Yeah, the first step for any site is just to make sure that you're telling Google what your site is about. I crawl a lot of sites and I check their meta descriptions and titles. So every page of your site should have a title where you say, this is, what this page is about. This is my About Us page. This is my FAQ page. This is my home page. This is, my service that I do. And then a description where it says, this is what this page is about. You don't want to have like the same description for every single page because then it's kind of worthless. So make sure that you're talking about, click on our About page to learn about us and our history and why you should work with us. That's the kind of stuff that is a huge signal to Google and all search engines what your page is about and what kind of content you've got, why it should rank, who it should rank for. And the more specific you can get in those, the better. If you're a local business, try to talk about the different areas that you work in, the different towns or neighborhoods, and say, hey, we're the best mechanic shop in this city or whatever. That's the kind of thing.
Just to clarify one thing here. So for people who aren't familiar, when Eric's talking about the meta title and description, that's a different meta than the meta that it runs Facebook and Instagram. So when you're in WordPress and you're editing one of your pages, if you don't see something on there that says meta title, meta description, you might have to add in one of those SEO plugins. The description and the title that he's talking about, it's not the same thing as like the title that shows up visually on your website. Like it might just say landscaping on your website, but the title in the back end, the title that Google scans might say landscaping services including retaining walls in Eden Prairie, Minnesota. Is that right? Exactly.
Yes. Thank you for checking me on that. I get kind of involved in my own little world and forget to pull my head out. So yeah, exactly. It's not meta. It has nothing to do with Facebook. It's just a little bit of code on the back end of your site. Yoast is a really popular free plugin if you're on WordPress that will make it so you can put in a title and description for every page. But it's really just an important way to show that this is exactly who my page is for. This is exactly what, if somebody is searching for landscaping, this is the page that would be really helpful for them. And that's exactly what those descriptions and titles are designed to do.
And you mentioned calling out cities. Now, I've seen some businesses, and this is one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show, is some businesses throughout their website, they'll mention different city names, landscaping in Fridley, landscaping in Bloomington. Other ones have this like drop-down menu of the cities they serve, and they have like a separate page for every single city in the area. And is that still good practice? Does that still work?
Yes It's a matter of like how much work to do that. Is it worth it? If all you're doing is copy pasting the page, the content is completely the same for each page, and you're just swapping the city names, that's not unique content. That's not probably going to help you. If you've got unique content on all the different location pages, then yeah, it's helpful, because then there are still people that are going to be looking for, hey, my small town, I want to work with somebody. And so I'm going to search Farmington, where I live. I'm going to search Farmington roofers and, find somebody that's local to me. So there's definitely still use in that. It's just a matter of like how much effort do you want to put in versus how much business you're expecting to make.
And yeah, you mentioned something important there, that Google likes to see unique content. I think that's something that's been more and more prevalent in SEO. So I got to ask you, is it okay to have ChatGPT write all that content, or is Google going to be like, whoa, an AI wrote this, so I don't like this?
So I don't think it's necessarily a matter of like AI wrote this, so it's bad. It's more of like, is the content quality? So if ChatGPT is writing your content, one, make sure that you're at least reviewing it and editing it and making sure it's correct. But also, like, put it in your own voice. Don't just copy paste and put it on your website, because then it's going to sound identical. The way that AI works is it takes a complete look at like all the texts that you see about your specific topic, and it guesses what the most appropriate next word is going to be in the sentence, basically. So by definition, all the content that it makes is completely average. So if your content was bad before, it's going to improve it. But if you've got good content, it's going to be worse than that. I think that, taking the time to write it or have somebody write it for you that, actually can put a decent voice on it and can actually put in some unique content and valuable content is extremely worth it. I always like to tell people AI is for input, not output. So it's great for like finding what important pieces of information you need to have on a specific page, or outline what my content should look like, or something like that. But I really advise against just copy pasting what it spits out for you, because again, like I said, it's the dead average, and average isn't going to get you ranked very high.
Right, exactly. So when you're talking about content, how about blogs? Are blogs still important in 2026 for SEO?
I'd say they're important. They're not as important as they used to be. So it used to be where you'd write where you'd have your main site, and you'd want to get those for like your big over. So if you're a landscaper, you want a landscaping page where it's like, this is what the landscaping we do. These are our services. This is how we do our work. And then you'd have your blog where it's kind of tackling the long tail keywords, where it's like, how to do this particular thing with this particular issue I've got. You can still do that, but you're not capturing those long tail keywords anymore. Those long tail keywords now are getting fed into the AI, and nobody's clicking on anything. Now that's if the AI pulls your exact text and like references you, that's great. It's probably not going to do that. So yes, you can still write those blogs for supporting the overall landscaping services that you do, to prove that like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. I'm a trustworthy source. I've got experience in all these different situations, but it's not. Those pages typically aren't going to be getting you organic traffic like they used to.
Got it. Okay, that's super helpful. And then, I guess right along that same line of stuff you can do on your own website, tell me about backlinks in 2026. So real quick, a backlink, for those of you who don't know, it's someone else linking to your website. And it used to be super important in SEO, like top 2 things you should be doing. But does that still matter as much anymore?
Not as much. It's still important. It's still a good signal that, people are linking to your site. They see you as a good source of information. They see you as reliable and trustworthy. But really, like I said, it's everything all at once. So yes, links are important still, but now getting mentioned by name is almost just as important, if not more so. So it's more of like the overall, just being like a good, building your brand and having a strong presence everywhere on the internet, as opposed to just trying to get backlinks. Because there were so many times where people were buying backlinks and just creating blogs simply to give backlinks to companies that paid for them. So it's not as important as it was. Still important, but it's just more like trying to make sure that your brand is visible online.
And so, yeah, we talked about how we should not buy things like backlinks and followers and all of those spammy techniques, those backdoor techniques. That's one big SEO mistake. What's another common SEO mistake that you see business owners making?
Well, the number one is just ignoring it. A lot of times people will say, like, I've got a website, but I don't really use it. I don't really get leads from it, that kind of thing. Like, your website could be your best salesperson. So, like, ignoring it is really leaving a lot of money on the table. The big mistake, I think, is, like, trying to do too much with it and not realizing that, like, you want to be focused in what you're doing on your website. So, like, especially, like, if you're running the website yourself, don't try to make it where it's like, I can do all these different things, and also here's my side business, and also here's my personal blog and everything. It's separate those things, put them on different URLs. But just focus on what you're doing. Make sure that you're updating it. Make sure that you're, supporting all your information on it. That's where the blogs are really helpful. Is if you've got a main page for your service, now your blogs can say, here's a unique situation in this service that I had the other day. Here's something that maybe other people don't know about this service. All that is just continuing to support what you're talking about and continuing to show Google that, like, oh no, I have a lot of information about this. I know my stuff. I know exactly what I'm talking about, and this is where you should go for that information.
So when people are ready to take that next step, when they're ready to hand off their SEO to someone else because they don't have the time for it or they want to make sure it's done right, how do you help people, in business owners, with their SEO and their digital marketing?
Yeah, the first step is just to make sure that everything is technically working, making sure that they do have that back-end information all set up on their site, making sure that all their pictures have an alt text, because that's an accessibility issue, which is a whole separate situation where we're talking about accessibility, but making sure that all their, none of their pages are blocking Google from crawling their stuff. I saw one site actually that on their homepage, all their links were no follow links, which is a super nerdy thing and back end, and I don't expect anybody else to really understand it. But basically, a no follow link is telling Google, hey, you don't need to follow where this link goes, so don't worry about it. Wherever this page is, it doesn't matter. So all their homepage links were going to no follows, and so the only information that they had was the homepage. That's the only thing that could rank on Google. That's the only thing that could appear in any searches. And that's the only information that they were giving Google to work with. So, like, those are the kinds of things that can make a huge impact right away, is fixing those technical things. Then I look at their site and say, okay, like, what's the goal that you want them to do? What's the main focus of your website? When people are searching, what's a good keyword or a good phrase that shows you that they're going to be a good customer? Because we don't want traffic from everyone. We want traffic from your customers. We want traffic from people that are going to convert for you. If all you want is traffic, I can get you traffic. But you probably don't just want traffic. You probably want people that are going to come and actually give you money. That's kind of the point of the business website. So making sure that all that information on your site is going towards helping people that will be your customers and shows Google, like, hey, I'm the resource for these people. That's where I come in and try to help create their strategy for their content, make sure that their technical SEO is right, and then help out with other ways where I'm like, hey, your form is really hard to fill out. Make sure that you make that easier for people. Once people fill out this form, what happens? Do you follow up with them? Can you automate that follow up? Like, there's a whole bunch of things that, like, continually show Google, like, hey, no, I'm treating our users with respect. I'm treating our users well, and sending people to my site is going to show that Google is a good search engine to continue using.
And where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
They can find me on LinkedIn, Eric Z. Carlson, if you wanted to find me there. Otherwise, my website is loonsidigital.com. It's a Minnesota thing, if you're aware. The loon is the state bird. So I figured I wanted to have something Minnesota-centric. Yeah, that's the business. That's where I'm trying to make sure that people know that they can get SEO help and all sorts of digital marketing help.
Well, hey, I think this is going to be really helpful for people. So I really appreciate you coming on the show today. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. It was a great time.
And this has been the New Marketing for Your Small Business podcast. If there is a business owner that you think this could help, please forward it on to them. Send them a link, and don't forget to subscribe and rate the podcast. We'll see you next time.